Okay, Algebra 1A and 1, this is part 5 of your review of the Get Ready section of Chapter 1. We're going to do a couple sections in this one for part 5. The first one, we are going to simplify fractions. And our first example, our directions are to write in simplest form. So we want to take our fraction of 28 and to write it in simplest form. There's two ways we can go about it, okay? I can actually do the work manually and realize that 4 goes into 20 and 28, and then also divide it and come up with 5 7s. But if you have a calculator, which all of you guys are allowed to have in my classroom, and also can use it on the EOC, although I'm going to be very honest with you, cannot stand having to use a calculator when it comes to something like this. However, we're in Algebra 1 now. On the EOC, you can use calculators. You don't even need, there's not even a no calculator portion on the test. It's all able to use the calculators. So let's look at this. How can I easily do this without very much effort at all? Well, I can plug in, and I apologize for the glare. My lights are actually pretty bright right now. I can plug in 20 28s into my calculator. And how I can do that, and on this one is actually a school one. I can plug in 20, hit the ABC button, and hit 28. And then if I press equals, it's automatically going to simplify it. Your guys' calculators should automatically simplify it. And if you are having problems with your calculators, you can raise your hand, and I will come to you and I will show you how to use them. A lot of the calculators they have an ABC button on it. So the ABC button will be your fractions. It just depends, though. Some calculators are a little bit different. So if you need help using your calculators, I will gladly assist you in that. So let's do another example. Your example is, whoops, I just gave you the answer. Your example is 1872. So what is the simplified form of 1872? So take a couple minutes, go ahead and pause the video and plug that into your calculator and figure out what is the simplified form of 1872. Okay. Assuming you paused your video and you have worked it out, you should have been able to say that it is 1/4. 1872 is reduced down to 1/4. And again, I can figure that out by simply plugging that into my calculator. I can hit 18, ABC, 72, and hit equals, and that comes up with 1/4. But why? Why did my calculator tell me that the reduced, or the simplified, or the reduced fraction of 18 over 72 is 1/4? Why is that the case? Well, 18 can go into 18, and 18 can go into 72 evenly. So 18 divided by 18 is 1, 72 divided by 18 is 4. Notice how I said the word evenly? When we reduce something or when we simplify something, we have got to make sure it goes in there evenly. Otherwise, we cannot use that number, okay? It has to be something that is going in there evenly with no other parts. Okay, our second part of this video is going to be the review over fractions and decimals. Again, this one is going to be another one where I would love if you guys could do this on your own without assistance of calculators. But at the same time, using a calculator will help us out on this just to make it go a little bit faster. So our definitions, or not definitions, I'm sorry, our directions say to write each fraction as a decimal and to round to the nearest hundredth. This is the part that I have a lot of students that will miss the problems like this on their homework because they don't read the second part of the directions. The second part of the directions says to round to the nearest hundredth. Okay? So let's look at one. Our first example is 7/10. We can easily say that as 0.7. Now, how did I come up with 0.7? Well, if you look at it, if I had 7/10 of a dollar, because isn't a fraction 100%? Or sorry, isn't 1 100%? Okay, so if I look at this, if I have 7/10 of a dollar, how much money do I have? I have 70 cents. All right, that one was one that you could probably do in your head, but let's say you couldn't. You can get out your calculator. I can plug in 7 ABC 10, and then this calculator on this one, it says the FD. If you see this button right here, it says FD. Probably getting really too close. It has FD on it with the arrow, and it's in yellow. What that means is I have to hit the second button and then the arrow, and it'll turn it into a decimal automatically for me. Again, doesn't the when I have a fraction, that bar means to divide? So couldn't I also enter it in as 7 divided by 10 and get my answer? Yeah, because a fraction really means division. It really means, hey, I'm going to take my numerator, divide it by my denominator, and I can come up with my answer. So there's actually a couple different ways to go about this. Okay? Let's do another one. Let's say our problem is 3/5. I want you to turn 3/5 into a decimal. So go ahead and pause the video and write 3/5 as a decimal. Okay, assuming you paused the video and you said that it was 0.6, you are totally correct. There's a couple different ways I could go about this. Again, I can plug it into my calculator as 3 ABC 5 and then hit my second button and hit the arrow and come up with 0.6. But is there another way I could come up with it? Doesn't the bar of a fraction mean to what? It means to divide. So I can say 3 divided by 5 is 0.6. So those are two ways of coming up with those exact same answer. I could also work it out longhand. It's up to you. Your choice on this. To me, it's really easy of plugging in the fraction and hitting second and the arrow key. And again, some of you guys' calculators might be slightly different. So if you need help with your calculators, bring it up to me and I'll gladly assist you. Or raise your hand first and I'll come and help you out. Okay, I want you to try out this last one as well. And the last one is 20/28. 20/28. So go ahead and pause the video again and find the decimal of 20/28. Alright, assuming that you paused the video and you actually worked this out, you would have said that 20/28 is 1.1111111, right? Keeps going on and on forever. You could have figured that out by saying 20 ABC 28, second arrow key. Whoops. Did I write that wrong? No. Okay, so I did write that wrong. So I made a mistake. I actually put it as 28/20. So good thing we redid this one. And again, it's okay to make mistakes. And if I would have written this in pencil, I could actually erase this. This is another reason why I'm not a big fan of pen. So actually, my response to this, 714285714. And this is another reason why it is a great thing to check your work. Yeah. And I also should have realized too, hey, wait, I shouldn't have a whole number because my numerator is smaller than my denominator, so I should have had that 1. So it works. We all make mistakes, even teachers. So when I look at this, if you write this as your answer, if you tell me that my answer is 0.714285714, I'm not going to give you full points. Why do you think I'm not going to give you full points? Because the directions say what? The direction says to round to the nearest hundredth. So we need to figure out what the nearest hundredth is. So if I look at this, the 7 is in the tenths spot. Think of dimes. The 1 is in the hundredths spot. Think of pennies. How many pennies make $1? 100 pennies do. Okay, so I know that this is where I want to round. So my rounding rules tell me I need to look to the number to the what? Good, I need to look to the number to the right. And since the number to the right is 4, how do I round? Good, I just drop it off, right? So my answer to this is 0.71. All right, so go ahead and go ahead and stop this video, and we're going to move on to our last part of this. And yay, are you guys excited? I am. Okay, so again, in this video, and then we will move on to our last